131.6 seconds for his fastest lap time in that session. So Red Bull looking again dominant, and Sainz in second and Norris in third.
Yes, it certainly was a very interesting practice session, the first practice session out here in Japan. It did start raining at the end of the session, but luckily the session was relatively unscathed from the weather. We might get a little bit of rain within FP2, but we'll have to wait and see. That does start at 8 a.m, so in the next 2.5 hours. But off the back of that session, just to read our top 10, Max Verstappen finishes that session up in P1. A much better session for him off the back of the Singapore Grand Prix. A dismal weekend for the Red Bulls. Really a weekend to forget. But right now they seem to be bouncing back and finding a lot more pace with their upgrades. Max Verstappen finishing that session with a 131.6 seconds being his fastest lap time that he put on the board there. Carlos Sainz then in P2, Lando Norris in P3, Charles Leclerc then the second Ferrari in P4, Yuki Tsunoda finding some great pace with the upgraded AlphaTauri up in P5. Fernando Alonso P6, Oscar Piastri P7, Alex Albon also finding some great pace in his Williams up in P8. Liam Lawson P9 and Lance Stroll in P10. Then Mark for the bottom 10.
Yes, indeed. So Perez all the way down in 11th though. So whilst Verstappen has improved upon his times in this week compared to last week, Perez is yet to do that, but I'm sure we'll see that change in practice too. Then we've got Pierre Gasly in 12th, Russell in 13th, Hülkenberg 14th, 15th is Ocon, 16th is Hamilton, 17th Bottas, 18th Magnussen, 19th Sargent, and 20th is Zhou. Now, do not be stressed about Mercedes being quite far down, 13th and 16th. They did not do any soft tyre runs there. So, of course, that's why their times look quite slow. But we'll see that, I'm sure, in FP2. We'll see some better times from them.
Yes, we should see some better times being put in by the Mercedes in FP2. And I'm also very interested in seeing what they're going to be able to do here this weekend. I think the circuit should also be able to suit their car off the back of a good run in Singapore. So we'll have to wait and see what is going to happen in FP2. But certainly a very interesting FP1 session here in Japan. Always great to see cars out here in the Suzuka track. Such a beautiful track with a great flow. Drivers certainly really enjoying it out there. And really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen throughout the rest of this race weekend.
Indeed. So now we've just finished off with practice 1, Reece. Now, where do you think we're going to see drivers finish up in qualifying tomorrow, just based off that practice? I know it's very, very little to go off of. But,
it's very early on, but of course I think Max Verstappen is showing some early dominance out here on the circuit. I don't know if it's a little bit too early to make the call between McLaren and Ferrari, though, just yet. I'd love to say I want McLaren maybe to have a little bit better pace. The circuit should maybe suit them a bit better, as well as the Aston Martin should be very fast around here. So I'm going to say Verstappen's going to be fastest. I think Sergio Perez should be able to bounce back a little bit better as well and put his car a little bit further up the grid. And then I'm going to say I think the Ferraris are going to be able to eke it out ahead of the McLarens this race weekend. So
okay.
First the Red Bulls, then second the Ferraris, third the McLarens.
Okay, so very, very interesting predictions there. I'm actually going to say Red Bull first, McLaren second, and then the Ferraris. As we did see a stat earlier in the session, Ferrari have not won here for many years, 19 years to be exact.
Since 2004.
So it's not looking likely that they're going to continue on their form from last weekend with Sainz 1, of course. So we'll see what happens in FP2, which is going to be later today. But nonetheless, that was our FP1 review. Thank you so much for watching, of course. We'll see you in the next one.